Good evening, Britain. I'm your host, and if you're watching this, congratulations. You've survived another week in a country that is currently less of a sceptered isle and more of a crime scene with decent tea. And we have to talk about the Epstein Files. 3 million documents, 3 million. That's more pages than the average British person spends reading how to apologize for things that aren't our fault. This isn't just a leak. This is a digital Niagara Falls of filth that has successfully managed to turn the special relationship between the UK and the US into a special investigation. And let's start with the man of the hour, Lord Peter Mandelson, or as he was known back in the 90s, the Prince of Darkness. Usually, when someone gets a nickname like that, they stop at vaguely Machiavellian political strategist. They don't usually take it as a literal career goal to become the consigliere for a billionaire's island of horrors. Mandelson has finally resigned from the House of Lords. Do you know how hard it is to get someone to resign from the House of Lords? It's a job for life. It's basically a high-end nursing home where you get to wear a velvet dressing gown and occasionally vote against the interests of the poor. To get kicked out of there, you usually have to be caught stealing the crown jewels or forgetting to say God save the king before a bowel movement. But the files suggest Peter wasn't just friends with Jeffrey Epstein. No, he was allegedly acting as a high-level concierge. The documents hint that he used his ministerial position to advise Epstein and JP Morgan on how to lobby the Treasury. Think about that. While the rest of us were worrying about the price of Freddos, Lord Mandelson was allegedly using the British government as a premium consulting firm for a man whose social circle made the cast of Goodfellas look like the Teletubbies. It's lobbying in the same way that a shark lobbies a seal to come closer to its mouth. But wait, it gets better or worse, depending on how much you enjoy the sensation of your soul leaving your body. Last year, Sir Keir Starmer, the man who sold himself to the public as Mr. Rules, the human embodiment of a spreadsheet, appointed Mandelson as the UK's ambassador to the United States. Now, normally, an ambassador's job is to promote British trade and occasionally eat Ferrero Rocher at parties. But appointing Mandelson to Washington while these files were looming is like appointing a hungry fox to guard a hen house, but the fox also has a long-standing friendship with a billionaire wolf. And here's the kicker. Starmer has admitted he knew about Mandelson's ties to Epstein before he gave him the job. Keir, my man, you're a former director of public prosecutions. Your whole brand is, I catch the bad guys. That's like a vegan chef admitting he knew there was a ham sandwich in the salad, but served it anyway because the ham had excellent strategic insights into the deli industry. The Prime Minister is now facing calls to resign, and his defense is essentially, I thought his experience was valuable. Valuable for what? Are we looking for trade deals with the afterlife? Are we trying to export corruption as primary post-Brexit service industries? Starmer told everyone he would bring integrity back to Downing Street. And he has. It's just that his version of integrity is apparently a very flexible concept, like a pair of yoga pants on a politician. He is standing there with a straight face, telling the House of Commons that he did due diligence. If Keir Starmer's due diligence were a security guard, it would be the guy at the club who lets in the man carrying a chainsaw because his shoes look polished. And let's talk about the scale of this. 3 million documents. Well, to put that in perspective, if you printed them out and stacked them up, they would be taller than the Shard and probably smell significantly worse. And these files are a political earthquake. But in the UK, an earthquake usually just means a few teacups rattle and someone says, goodness me, before going back to their biscuit. But not this time. This is a tectonic shift. We're seeing the architect of modern labor being dismantled by his own blueprints. And Mandelson helped build the new labor house. It turns out the basement was built on a swamp of Epstein-funded offshore accounts and lobbying memos written in the dark. And it's not just a scandal, it's a renovation project where you realize the entire foundation is made of asbestos and broken promises. And the most damning part is the lobbying of the Treasury. The Treasury is supposed to be the vault of the British people. This is where your taxes go to die. And apparently for the right price or the right advice, the doors were held open by a lord of the realm. And it makes you wonder who else was in the room. If Mandelson was the architect, who was the interior designer? Who chose the curtains for the corruption? The British public is often accused of being cynical. But how can you not be? You are told there's no money left for schools or hospitals, but there's plenty of time for a peer of the realm to advise a disgraced financier on how to navigate the levers of power. It's not the cost of living crisis, it's a cost of being honest crisis. And now Keir Starmer is digging in. He's using his favorite tactic, the forensic stare. He stares at the opposition until they feel slightly uncomfortable, hoping everyone forgets that he hired a man who was effectively the Linkin Park of the Epstein Files. He was in the end. It didn't even matter. But it does matter. If you are the Prime Minister and you hire an Epstein associate to represent the King in Washington, you haven't just made a mistake, you've performed a masterclass in poor judgment. It's like hiring the iceberg to captain the Titanic because it knows the water really well. And the calls for resignation aren't just coming from the usual suspects. They are coming from people who actually believed the Mr. Clean Act. It turns out the change Starmer promised was just a change in the type of scandal we get to be depressed about. So here we are. Mandelson is under criminal investigation. Starmer is under fire. And the Epstein Files are still being read by every journalist in London with a pot of coffee and a death wish. And what have we learned? If you are a Prince of Darkness, maybe don't leave a paper trail 3 million pages long. If you are a Prime Minister, he's a bit dodgy but very clever is not a valid HR policy. And the only special relationship that truly matters in politics is the one between a politician and a shredding machine. We'll keep you updated as more files come out. Rumor has it the next batch is just 300,000 pages of people saying, I don't recall in different fonts. I'm off to see if I can find a lordship in a cereal box, and apparently the standards for entry have never been lower. Good night, Britain. Try not to check your email. You might be in the files too.